What's up, guys? Jason Guyman here tonight. And tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about the stuff you need to hang Christmas lights, whether it's the lights, the bulbs, some tools. I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what you need to start a Christmas light business in 2025, how you can make 10 grand, how you can make 30 grand, how you can make 100 grand, how you can make a $500,000 hanging Christmas lights in 2025. It's going to be awesome. I've got all kinds of stuff here. I've got bulbs down here with lights on them already. We'll talk about how all of this works, different things, different clips, different plugs, all kinds of Christmas lights, because Christmas lights are freaking awesome. It is go time. I've been saying that for a while, but it is getting go time. Like, I've had people closing thousands of dollars of jobs this weekend. I've had people sending me messages. I love it when I hear those success stories. I just don't want to hear your problems. I like hearing your success stories too. Yes, I will listen to your problems too, and I will help you wherever I can. And so that is what we're going to hit on tonight. If you have any questions related to maybe some tools, maybe some bulbs, what that might look like, please put it in the questions, put it in the comments if you're watching this video later, and I will get back to your questions and answer your questions. But this weekend, let me tell you something. If you missed out on this weekend, you missed out. It was amazing. It was myself. There was a lot of awesome people there. There was 57 people there. It was amazing. We had myself, Ron Roby, David Merle, all kinds of different people there. The Bright brothers, there was two firefighter brothers. Amazing people, amazing energy. It was awesome to see people learning and getting those aha moments and taking the ones that go back and take action. And that was amazing to see. The weather was beautiful. It got a little warm for Texas, but it's okay. And so it didn't get too hot, and it was awesome. We got to go do an install. We got to learn how to do hiring. We got to learn how to do marketing and sales and everything. And so it was an amazing class this past weekend. If you missed out, you missed out, but that's all right. I do have some more trainings coming up. If you want to go to christmaslights.io/IPT, you can find them there. But tonight, that is what I want to hit on, is how can we get more business, and what are the products that we need to make this happen? Not only what are the products do we need, but how they work a little bit, and then also what tools do we may need, right? And what to do and what not to do with these tools. And so that's what I want to hit on tonight. And also the barbecue, and not just the barbecue. Like, Laura's cooking was fabulous. It was amazing. The first day, she made all the sides for 2 days, and they were all gone the first day because they were so delicious. And so the second day, she made more. She made 2 pans of banana pudding. One was supposed to be one day and one the next. It was all wiped out. And so the food was amazing. We got to give props to Laura. Laura did an amazing job in cooking. And so that is a task in itself. And then she has to put up with Ron, so that's another task in itself. But it was really, really good. The food was amazing for sure. So, what's up, Artsy TV? Hello, the goat. Let's go, Mr. Carey. How are you doing tonight? George Jost, big time in the house. How are you doing tonight? And then Ron Roby, but like he said, the barbecue was amazing for sure. So, what tools? So, here's my question for you. What has been your win this week? I actually do coaching calls every week for my mentorship program, and one of the things that I always like to know is what is your wins? Because if you never have wins, then how can we grow a business? And it's important that we find our wins, share our wins, and use our wins, because if we always just keep going and going and never celebrate our wins, you're never going to have enough. And it's important that we need to share our wins. And so, my win is we had 57 people there. We had amazing turnout. It was awesome. There was, I got to do a lot of one-on-one talking with people and understanding where they are, and that is awesome. The win for Matt is not cutting prices for low ball customers. And, you know, as I've learned about pricing, and, we kind of had some discussions on pricing this weekend. And, the more I think about it, is if you give it, pricing is not about the cheapest. I know sometimes people think if I go to the cheapest, I'm going to get it. And it's not about the cheapest, right? It's about showing your value. It's about showing up. It's about answering the phone call. It's about those are the things. And if you have a mindset of price and you're always talking about the cheapest, and you think the cheapest, then you're going to get the cheapest people. Those are the people you're going to buy from you no matter what you do. And so we have to change our mindset of the people in our area. Who are the people I'm looking for? If you live in an area, that I'm going to use Houston, right? There's 8 million people just in Houston alone. The whole state of Kentucky only has 4 million people. Think about that. So you can't tell me that everybody in Houston is cheap. And you don't need everybody. I need 100 people. I need 1,000 people. I only need 1,000 people out of 4, 5, 6, 10 million people that are in one area. And these are the things that, as we start thinking different and believing different and changing our mindset, price will come a lot easier for you and not so hard on you at the end of the day. So that's what I wanted to say on that. I know that wasn't what I'm here for, but I love hearing this one right here. Sold my third job, this one for $1,800, put close to 50 yard signs out today, and followed up in a solid job working to sell jobs all day. I stopped by a bar on the way home and got another quote out. That is awesome, Carrie. And here's the thing, right? Carrie is one that I love, that it's seeing him taking actions. you know, Terry's had a hard life and he's making the best of it, and he's going to do amazing things this year with Christmas lights. And that is what is awesome. And it's going to change his life forever. And if you don't believe Christmas lights can change your life, I promise you it can change your life. Mark my words, by the end of the week, I will have 2 employees hired. I'm taking your word of advice. They will be running the truck and I will be off the truck this year. Super excited. So the question is, have you sold 2 jobs this week? Because that was your thing also. That's the question. Yard signs out and starting to get calls. Awesome. All right. So let's get this ball rolling. Right. What is the first thing that we need? And the first thing that we need is a good quality bulb and clips, right? This isn't the best clip is the clip that I actually like. I don't know where I've done with them, but I personally like the best clips better. Some of these will actually ratchet it in there and it can cause issues. This one does all right because it's got plenty, but I was dealing with some bulbs this weekend and they were a little bit tight on there. But again, we want good socket wire. We want good clips, right? Our clips will clip on the gutters. If you are and then we can clip them on the roof and stick them up. If you don't like sticking them up, you can use a thing called a shingle tab, which looks like this. And this is a shingle tab, and this can point them out. And then there's another one that I actually have, and I don't have it over here with me, that kind of looks like this. We can also use one that is like so. This clip here, again, if you need lights, you can go to christmaslight.io and you will be able to get all of these clips and bulbs and everything that you need for your Christmas light business. So this is another one that you can take this clip here and stick it on there like so. And now we can point these bulbs out. So that way the bulbs are facing out. So you can see how this is clipped on there. Let me see if I can get it up here. You can see how this bulb is clipped on there. And so now that shingle is going to go right there like so. And now we can point the bulbs out. So if you want them all pointed facing out, you can point one on the gutters facing out. You can point them up on the roof facing out. You can do it either which way. I personally will do it all of them this way here, because the reason why I will do it this way is I can pre-bulb, pre-clip everything, and at the time I get to the job, I'm just going to clip them on the gutter. I'm going to clip them onto the shingle and point them up, and I can do this, and I can keep my speed going very quickly. You can't, these new bulbs, you can't tell the difference, Harley, barely at all, from pointing out versus up, other than in the daytime. In the daytime, you can tell the difference. At nighttime, there's not that much of a difference. And so this is why we can point them up and out, and that's how we can do this. Again, if you want to point them the other way, go for it, but that's how you can do this very simply. Now, next thing is our males and females, right? We need males and females. Now, males and females are very easy. Again, don't touch that when it's plugged in or it's going to shock you. I had some people shock themselves this week. I'll show you the way they shock themselves, and I'll make sure that you don't shock yourself, because I don't want you to get shockingly, right? And so basically we have females that we got the knockout. This knockout is still in. We can just put this right down in the wire there, shove it down, shove the wire down into the here. You got the cap here. On the cap, you can see it's got a ramp on this side, and on the back side, it's got like a little cap. You're going to take the ramp side, put it on the female plugs, and you're just going to slide that right up there. That's how you do this. You can have as many females on a line as you want, but you can only have one male on every line. You can have as many females as you want, but you can only have one male. And so that's how you do your males and females. Literally that simple. I've got a female down here in the middle somewhere that I saw it right here. Then I have a female down here, right? And what I did is I took the knockout and we knocked it out. Now, sometimes this is a little pro tip. Sometimes it's hard to get these caps off of here. And so we can take the cutters. I like these precision cutters. These work the best. Obviously, I don't want to cut this with it hot. It's going to go pow if I do. We don't want that to happen, and it'll screw up my thing. But what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can get a good picture of it. I'm going to take the handles here, if I can get up here. Take my handles here, and I'm going to put the one handle on the cap, on the top cap here, and on the bottom of it. And basically, because sometimes these get on there pretty hard, and then I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to slide this up and slide that off, and that way I don't have to work it real hard. So again, you can take you can see that we got the knockout. We took the knockout. We can do the same thing. We can put this on there like so. I can get it on there. Put it on there. I want to go on the factory side cutout. We're going to take the cap with the thing. We'll just slide this up on there. Again, if you want to, you can take your pliers handles here and you can just slide this cap right up on there, so that way your fingers don't get hurt. Otherwise, your fingers are going to hurt, and that's what's going to happen. And yes, you want all hot females. We don't want hot males, right? So that's why we only put one male on every line. We can have as many females as you want, but you can only have one male, and it's got to be a dead male if it's not plugged in. So that's how we can do our males and females. These are our bulbs. These are our clips. This is the socket wire. I personally like the Admiral socket wire. It works very well. I personally like the Gilbert plug here. I like the Gilbert plugs better than probably any of the other plugs, because I have had less issues with these plugs here being the Gilbert plugs than any other plugs here. So that's just my personal preference. But again, I've had less issues out of these plugs, out of the Gilbert plugs or vampire plugs, than anything else. So that's how we can do this. So again, you got the bulbs, we got the clips, we got the females, we got the males on there. Now we have one other thing here. Let me slide this over here, and then I'll kind of go to tools here. So now we got something here that if we have a line of lights here, we can now power it in here and not manipulate the male plug and not make it UL rated at that point. So this is what you would call a one plug, is what it's called. And basically it has, you can just slide it on here. Um, let's see if I can slide it off here without getting shocked. Um, you don't want to slide this on because now this is a hot wire, but you can see how this gets put on there. Let me get this hot wire here so I don't shock myself online here. That would not be good. I'm sure I know somebody got shocked on it the other day. These can be kind of hard to get on and off. So again, I'm going to use my cutters to slide these bad boys on and off. Maybe. So basically, this is what it's going to look like. Again, if you're putting this on a hot wire, make sure the cap is on it because that's how he got shocked. This is not a hot wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to put it on there. I'll put one on. Just like the other way, I'm just going to lay that wire right down inside there. I'm going to kind of nicely and push it down in there, just like so. And then I'm going to slide the cap on. Again, I'm going to use my cutters here because it just makes it easier to get it up on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hot wire here. And I am going to plug this in. And hopefully I don't get shocked, because I don't like getting shocked. And you can see that I'll put it on there. And then we'll put it up on there like so, and voila, my lights are back on. And so this is called a one plug. Again, you can find this on the website too, christmaslights.io. If you want 18% off, put in early bird 2025 when you go to the website until the end of this month, September 30th. So you got 2 more days. You order anything, you can get 18% off of all of your materials. So I would say if you want to order up is the time to do it. If you want 18%. Now, we have a couple different types of clips. One clip we have is, again, this one here is called a shingle tab. So we have a shingle tab clip right here. We don't want to cross thread these bulbs in or they'll get messy in there. And then this can slide underneath the shingle. We also have another clip that's called a parapet clip that it will slide right in here. And this is what we can put up on a roof, and then it'll slide right up in there and it'll hold that light just like so. It's pulling it down because I've got all the weight on it. So that's one way we can do this. Then another way I can do this is called a light strip clip. A light strip clip. It's a 2-piece clip. It has 3M double side sticky tape. They just stick together. And then I can do the same thing with this here of putting this in through the bulb, sliding the bulb in there. And now it's not so big and bulky. And I can put this on a parapet wall. I can make sure I clean it with alcohol, stick it on there so it sticks. I can put it on a window. If this is the window, I can put it on the metal frame of it. And so I can do it that way. I'm going to see if my camera started moving on me again. But these are ways that I can use these clips to work very easy, very quick for that. So let's see, anything else on material? Let me get all this over here. Those are our tips for materialize. Now, we're going to talk about some other things we can do here. One is you have your cutters. I like the precision cutters because it will make a nice clean cut if you cut them right. So you can cut them on an angle here, and you can see that there's no wire sticking out. So that's what we want, no wire sticking out. Now, if you want to go a step above, you can go ahead and cut this back a little bit. So what you can do is break this apart and then cut this one here. So now there's no chance of us having a short here. And so this is another way that you can cut these wires to make sure that you don't have a short. Shorts are not good in electrical side. Shorts are awesome when it's hot outside, but shorts in this is not good when we are talking about this, right? And so this is what you need to do to be able to make sure that that doesn't happen. Again, I like these cutters. Now, I'm going to give you the part of these cutters that I tell everybody in my class now. These cutters will cut you. You know, the way I'm showing you to pull these males and females off with the right here, if you're not careful and do it right here, you'll cut your hand right there. So that's one place it'll cut. If you drop these and they fall in your crock, it will make your shoe full of blood. So you want to make sure that you're being careful when you're using these here. So again, these work great, but again, you want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself when they fall down and hit you in the foot. So that's another thing that you need there. Another tool that you need is a GFCI protector. This is for installs only. We're using this on the installs of the house. We're going to plug this in. This will keep you from tripping the breakers. This will also help keep you from catching it on fire. And yes, I have seen something catch on fire. It caught on fire so fast that luckily someone was thinking to be able to unplug it fast enough as it was hot trying to burn into the wall. And so you want to make sure that you use one of these GFCI protectors. We used to only use these on the old days, incandescent days, when we had big loads. But now, if something happens and shorts out, you still want to use one of these tools right here. Another tool that goes along with this tool is this guy right here. And what this will do is it allows me to have a remote that will go real far that I can click on and off and turn on the lights on and off. And so this is something that when I like to teach people how to power the lights on, so then that way when you're powering the lights on and you need to cut the wire, you can turn all the lights off, cut the wire, make your plug, and then that way if you have an issue and you go to turn everything back on, now you can be like, oh, you know what? Why ain't my lights working? Well, it's either the male or female right here. And it's up on the second story on the 12-12 pitch. And so this is why this here works really well for there. My other set of cutters that I like or that I will carry with me is a regular pair of cutters. And the reason why I use these cutters for is we use this green wire here, this galvanized wire. It's got galvanized in it. And so to cut this, if you try to cut this here with the other cutters, you will break the cutter. So this is the only time I use this is for hanging wreaths is what I'm using that for. The next, and so that's not that expensive. Again, all these tools that I'm talking about are super cheap and not that expensive. Next thing I've got is a $2 paint hanger. And you can bend this around here. Let's see if, I don't know if I can do it or not without breaking it. Sometimes I break the handle if you ain't careful. You can bend this around here. So now we can use this for, now it's got me mad and I want to bend it. So now I can use this to pull my lights up. I can take Mr. Long Arm pole over here that I have, the big yellow pole, put this on the top. And now if my partner up top forgets anything, I can hang clips up there, send clips up to him. I can put a bag on here with males and females in it. I can put it up there. And so this is a tool that will help you. It's $3 and you can make these all day long. I actually bend this all the way down or try to, so then that way I can pull down, I can pull up, I can use all this tool from this tool right here. It works amazing, works great. It is awesome. I love it. It's one of my favorite tools. Another favorite tool, cougar paws. We love cougar paws. They're about 200 bucks. They have these pads on them. You do want to be careful when these new pads, sometimes they will pull up on you if you're not careful when you're sliding down on a roof. And so you do want to be careful. You want to change these pads out every so often. They'll usually last about 4 to 6 weeks. They're about 20, 30 bucks just for the pads. So make sure you get your pads with your cougar paws. Cougar paws work great. Again, all my tools, if you want to go to christmaslights.io/tools, I've got everything linked there so that way you can find all that stuff. I also put these shoes up here, the Feelers. these feelers work really good on holding roofs. These will actually hold a little bit better than the cougar paws. Like if we put these on a 12-12, these will not slip at all. Like as long as you hold on them, they will not slip at all. They work really good, and they're only $44. So that's the other thing. So they're a quarter of the price of the cougar paws. And so if you want to get your guys these, I had to get white because that's the only color they came in Bigfoot size of 15s. But they do sell these in black if you got little tiny feet, like 10s or 8s. So that's something else that you can do there. Another tool that we have is called the kilowatt meter. This isn't actually called the kilowatt meter. This is called the power meter. But this will tell you how many amps you're pulling. Where this comes, you really don't need this tool in the beginning. You need this if you're gonna do any troubleshooting. If you got a problem, if it's tripping the brake or something, tripping the GFCI, we need to get this bad boy out and start unplugging stuff to see what is our problem and what isn't our problem, right? And so our other thing that we have here is what else do we have here? I've got all kinds of crap here. Trying to see what you need and what you don't need, right? Is the timers. You can use these timers here with the 468, real simple. You can use the other timers that do the side with the digital. Just make sure that you set them right. Make sure they got new batteries so that way they don't go dead on you. This here's are your problem, right? Your timers are your issues. 9 times out of 10, it's either GFCI or timer. That's what it is. 1% is something else, but 9 times out of 10, it's your timers. That is where you're going to be at. And then the last clip I want to show you is a brand new clip. Now, this clip is something new. It's pretty cool. And I want to show you how you can use these clips, or I won't be able to show you how you can use these clips, but I'll show you I'm going to show you here what you can do with these clips. And it is definitely pretty cool what you can do with these clips. If I can get it up here. Um, hate when you can't get it up here. But these are some really cool clips that are different, and it is something that just came out that you can use. And I want to show you what I mean by this. And so um, let me see if I can find them here. I think I have them in here. And we do have kits of these. And so they are pretty awesome. These kits are really cool that what you can do with them. Um, and shoot, maybe maybe I won't be able to show you what I want to do with them. But it is really cool what you can do with these clips. And the way that you can use these clips are something new. So if you want to do something for Halloween and for Christmas lights, I think they're coming up. Um, let me see if I can get them up this other way here. And this is something that you can do to be able to do this, right? And so these clips are for, again, as I said, they are for the side of if you want to do something here, and I don't know if it'll share my screen, but basically we have RGB clips. And so now instead of we can take our smart lights, is what I'm calling them, is smart lights is what we're calling them, and the smart light clips. And now we can take our pucks and put in there. And now we can do Christmas lights, we can do Halloween lights, all by just clipping on it. And not only can we do it on the side of the gutter, but we also got a shingle clip like this clip that will slide underneath the shingle and it will point out. And other than the look of a big bulb, these are actually a little bit brighter than a C9 bulb. And they actually look really good with a C9 bulb. And I think I've got a photo of one with the C9 bulb and one with the side of this here, as long as it's in here. And so if I can find it here, I'll show you what I mean by one with a C9 bulb and one with the regular bulb, and you can actually see that it's a little bit brighter. Um, let's see if it'll go over there. And so you can see here that I've actually, the reason why they're so close is because these are only 12 inches apart, and the regular Christmas lights are a little bit wider. So here you can see a bulb here, and then you got the C9 bulb, and then you got this here. I can make it a little bit more. I didn't work on the color as much, but I can get that color just to look like the C9 bulb. And again, other than the part of, you can see the C9 bulb. If you look at it at night, you can't tell the difference which bulb is which. Only way you can tell the difference is because one's pointing up versus the one's pointing out. Now, during the daytime, you're not going to see that. So that's why these are called the smart lights. And so we have kits. They come in 100, 150, 200, 250, whatever kit you need. And it comes with the controller. It comes with the clips. It comes with some extension wires. It comes with everything. And it is a all plug and play system. So if you are in an area that you're not allowed to sell stuff, if you're in an area that you're not allowed to cut stuff, every bit of this is plug and play. Like everything is screwed in. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff. And so these are ways that you can use smart lights to be able to do this. And so this is something that's just brand new that came out. Again, if you want any more information on it, you can email me at jason@christmaslights.io. You can text me a message at 855-619-5483, or you can call this number. It's some reason it ain't been working 100%. I get through about half the time, and so I'm working on that, and hopefully I'll get it fixed so that you can do that. If you text me, it will come through. I will text you back. If you call me, I'm trying to make it where I can start answering the phone, but it's not working 100% right now. I'm going to have to change it or do something to make it work. But again, it is a smart clip. It works. And you can see where I showed the picture of the difference, and it is pretty awesome of what you can do with that. So that is the two new clips that just came out this year. And so it's a way that we can put it up for Halloween, give them the app. They can change it to Christmas lights. If they want all different colors of the Christmas lights, they can change that. If they've got football colors, we can sell it for football. If you Georgia fans might be soaking where you all lost last night to Alabama, but you can put some Bama colors in there. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. Again, if you go on the site, it's different prices because it depends on how many feet you got. I think that first kit at 100 is, I don't remember what it is, and it does include shipping, so you don't have to pay shipping. Again, if you want Christmas lights and you need lights, you can go to Christmas Light, don't put the S on it, .io. You can get 18% off right now to the end of this month, 18%, plus you get free shipping. You don't have to pay hundreds of dollars in shipping. So you can get free shipping and you can get all of that. So again, that is where we are talking about. Those are awesome. What's the price on those? Again, I'd have to go look them up. And again, it's going to depend on how many feet that you get is what it's going to depend on. So that's where those smart lights are. So they're RGBW smart lights is what they are. Um, the the first kit, the 100-foot kit, is $8.99. So you are going to have some costs, but this is something that we can charge $15 a foot and put them up, and then that way next year it's going to be pure profit, right? You're going to get even more at that point. So you can go out, charge 15, 14, $15 a foot, $18 a foot, $20 a foot, and go put them up, take them down, so that way they don't want to leave them up on their house all the time. And that's another thing that you can do that can set you apart and give them lights all year long. Last thing is zip ties for takedowns. You should use zip ties for takedowns when you take down. The way I teach is put a red zip tie on the first floor, one red zip tie, two red zip ties on the second floor, and that's the right side because red, right, R, keeps it simple. So these are things that you can do to be able to do that also. Roll Tide. So you got questions? What questions do you have for Christmas lights? It's been, I think this is going to be I know this is going to be an amazing year. I know people have closed way more than they did last year. If you got your Facebook ads up, getting your yard signs out, make sure that you put the right stuff on your yard signs. Don't put too much crap on them. We were talking about good old Texas last night and how, you know, the yard sign rule that just came in, how the new the AP, what is it, the AP2, for text. You're not allowed to send anything with discounts or any text like that. So these are all things that, things change. AI is changing things. And so these are things that when we start looking at how do we got to grow this Christmas light business and what do we need to do and what materials we need and what supplies we need, these are things that we got to look at. But I'm telling you right now that I know people that have closed, a lot of money, 300, 400, $500,000 worth of closing of Christmas lights already. And so if you're not out there selling it right now, and here's the thing, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is your first year. You may not sell a lot right now. It might, usually November is when it will really take off with you, especially because you don't know how to sell. I've had people, well, Jason, I've knocked 200 doors, 300 doors, and I've only closed one job. Well, you need to figure out how to sell the magic, and you got to think about that, and you got to work on that. And you look at your speech and what are the words you're saying. I pushed that really hard this weekend. The mindset, the words that you say. If you talk about cheap and you want cheap prices and you buy cheap material and everything is cheap, then don't be going out there thinking you're going to get premium pricing on your customers, right? Because everything in your brain is coming out cheap. And when you go to try to sell a job and everything in your brain is cheap, you're going to spew words that are going to kill you on your sales side of things. So this is why it's so important that we make sure that we say the words that we want to speak and how we speak the words. Are you using your customers' words? I've been pushing this really hard here lately. Are you looking at your customer? Are you looking at your 5-star reviews and seeing what are the words that your customers are using? Are they talking about how perfect they are and how the C9 bulbs and all this? No, they're not. I promise you. I promise you, they are not talking about that stuff at all, right? And so this is something that as you start looking at your 5-star reviews, look and see what they talk about. Are they talking about professionals? Are they talking about, what are they talking about? Again, when we do this, you will see how much better you will get and be able to understand, right? And if you don't do this, it's going to hurt you and you're not going to close as many jobs because you're too worried about selling other things instead of selling the right thing, right? You're using words that you shouldn't be using because you want to sell the bulbs and you want to sell that crap. And when you sell that crap, that's what's going to happen. And so this is one thing that as you start looking at what does your people say? What are the words are they using? What can you say better, right? What can you say to make sure that we're using there? And so if you have reviews, if you don't have reviews, try to get reviews because reviews are awesome, right? Reviews will save you a lot, will make you a lot of money. I'm trying to find some Christmas light brothers, um, something along those lines. I know this is kind of a bigger company, but I want to just show you this, right? Are you using the words that they're saying? Or are you trying to sell the bulbs? Are you trying to sell that stuff, right? That's the question. So here's their reviews. They got 279 reviews. Um, what do they say? Fantastic company, fantastic employees, fantastic service. Is that what you're calling your reviews? Are you talking about a pre-bulb? Are you talking about that? We hired Christmas Light Brothers to install several palm trees around for our wedding, and they did an absolutely incredible job. Do you talk about how absolutely incredible job you're doing, or do you talk about how other things that don't matter? Right? This one was only a 4 star, so maybe we don't use these words. Milo actually uses a crew, and sometimes people, the only thing that could have made it better is they did not cut, break shrubbery in the process, so they screwed up stuff doing it, and that happens sometimes. You got to be careful with that. They came with all the materials needed, showed up on time for both appointments. When they arrived, they noticed the house was too big to reach, so they didn't do it, right? We've been using Christmas Brothers for several years. Our office parties, each party have three, right? So these are all things of what you can look at for your reviews. And then, sometimes people do go look at your 1 star reviews. Where are your 1 star reviews? They talk about, look, holiday, Christmas lights. They talk about the crews, communication, they're polite, they email, right? These are what the words that they're calling. And you look at them, you'll see that some of these words are really well for yourself. And so, what fantastic service. Are you using fantastic in your sales pitch? Why not? Well, that sounds stupid. You're saying what my customer says is stupid? Then maybe you need to think about what your customer is saying and not what you think they say. And so they use them fantastic. How many times do they use fantastic? Professional, super easy, right? These are all words that we want to say. Maybe instead of saying, we make this super easy for you, just we our customers are telling us we make it super easy, and that's what we want our future customers to think about. So again, what words are you using? And the words you use are so important because this is what's going to make you be able to sell higher jobs, more jobs, get your average ticket up, be able to close more jobs, get your close rate up, because it's the words you speak. And a lot of times, the words you speak, you got to shut up and listen. Because if you don't shut up and listen, you say too many words. And when you say too many words, you're not understanding what their problem is. You don't know what their pain point is. You assume their pain point. You don't know that their pain point is they got a party this weekend and they need the lights up this weekend. But you haven't shut up long enough to find that out. And so this is important to understand what is your customer saying and what is their pain points. Why do they want Christmas lights? What's the special occasion? Is the grandkids coming up this year? Why? Ask questions. The more questions you can ask, the better off you're going to be able to sell them later on. But if you do all the talking, if you're doing 80% of the talking and they're only doing 20% of the talking, I'm going to say that if you come and talk to me why your close rate is low, I'm probably going to tell you because you won't shut up and listen. And I know I'm being mean right now. It might be mean, consider being mean, but I'm just being honest. I see it too much, right? People want to talk too much. Let them talk. They're going to tell you what their pain point is. They're going to tell you who's coming over. They're going to tell you that the grandbaby hasn't been there in 5 years and it's the first time over. Do you think that's going to look incredible, fantastic, using words like that? Yes, we want to use words like that. All right. If you got questions, put them in the comments. Yard signs out, starting to get calls. That's awesome. Antonio, when is the next class in North Carolina? Probably be next year, maybe. Um, I'm probably going to have most of my classes here because I have it where I have the roof where you can get on the roof. You can use the Ridge Pro. You can use the pitch hopper. Oh, that's one tool I didn't show. I got the pitch. Oh, that's heavier than I thought. One tool I didn't show is the pitch hopper, right? We love the pitch hopper. The pitch hopper works great. Uh, they're amazing. They're about 120 bucks a piece and they work awesome. I love the pitch hoppers. Pitch hoppers are awesome. I would highly recommend it. So I don't know if I'll be right now. and I know it won't be this year, but um, because like I said, I've got my setup here now where you can hang the lights. I can do permanent lighting. I can teach you how to do all the permanent lighting here. I can teach you how to do Christmas lights. You can use the pitch hopper on my roof here. All that good stuff over here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Let's see if I can show it over here. Um, yeah, I've got my roof right here. I've got the goat on there. We got the pitch hopper. You can climb on that roof. I've got roofs over on the other side there. And we got pillars and columns and all kinds of cool stuff over there for us. We got a 12-foot Christmas tree over here. So we got some pretty cool stuff in here. That way it is, you're able to work on this a lot easier. I am planning on possibly having a landscape lighting class coming up in February with Zuzak probably. And so it'll be a permanent lights and landscape lighting and marketing class. It'll be a 3-day class. We haven't figured out the dates just yet, but that is something that we will be looking at having here if you are wanting to get into permanent lights next year. I do have a couple permanent light classes this year left, but for next year. Um, I'm the only Hotmail Facebook. um, what are your thoughts on GFCI? I'm assuming CFI. I don't know. Every socket spool tells you wattage and the amount of bulbs used to keep the wire from throwing. What Wondering your preference. And so here's what I will tell you, right? So I used a kilowatt meter on this here, on on a garbage can full of lights. I have a garbage can here full of lights that has about 800 bulbs on it. And so at 800 bulbs, which is 1,000 feet because it's 15-inch spacing, we were at 2.4 amps, 2.4 amps, 2.5 amps. So it's not very long at all. So it's not, you're pull with these new LED bulbs, you're pulling very few amps. And so you should be good. I've done about 1,200 feet, 1,400 feet on one line before. I know you're talking about something else, but quick sales question. I keep on doing quotes, and literally the only objection I'm getting is I need to talk to my wife and husband. Then it just goes nowhere, and I get ghosted. Is there a way to get over this? So this way we can get a sales on the spot. And here's what I'm going to tell you. So in my Facebook group, if you're not in my Facebook group, you can go to christmaslights.io/group. I'm going to pull it up here, and I'm going to show you this because there's some really good responses on here. And one of the questions that I asked yesterday, I think it was, if I can find it, um, what did I put there? I don't want anyone on my, oh, that was a question. What would you, let's see, that's not it. Um, Again, if you're not in the group, you can see that there's a lot of different things here, a lot of questions getting asked. And so, um, can you give me a discount? Do customers really buy on price? And so I asked this question that is a really good, I've been asking lots of really good questions, in my opinion, that you should start looking at and reading them because that way you can learn and it helps my algorithm out. What's the most expensive thing? Do you follow up after one call? Do customers really want the cheapest? Well, shoot, what I do with that one? And there was a lot of good questions underneath of it. And so that is something that, um, let's see, Jason, let me pull up this way. I can't find it. I'm gonna pull over here and that way I'll find it and I'll keep talking. So there's a couple ways that you can handle this, right? We can kind of go at the, hey, can you get her on the phone? And that's the question for you is what are you doing right now? What are you doing to set that question, right? And the reason why I want to kind of show this here is because it does show some pretty good responses on here. And that's why I wanted to kind of get on here because it is something that you do have to come up with some type of sales pitch to do it. Now, some of these I agree with, and some of these I would maybe not do it, right? I might not do some of these. And so basically, you gotta be kidding me. Um, again, these are all on my site here, all on that Christmas site page. Um, I need to talk to my spouse, right? And so you can see that there's 23, and I actually did another one. And some of these are really good. Some of these, again, I may not use, but I'm sorry, I thought you were the man in the relationship. Should I call her? Yeah, I may not use that. But if you can jokingly do it, you might be able to get away with it. But that is something that if you do, if your wife came home and you told her, honey, I do something special for our family this year and having a beautiful Christmas light put up, do you really think she would be mad at you? No. Okay, then let's get this on the books, right? There's ways that we can do that, and that's why I know some other people put in here. The honest is regret. So there's all kinds of great different questions in here, and I did another one a couple days ago. So again, if you're not in my group, I give lots of value. I put a lot of stuff on there that will help you overcome objections. Here was one. I can just buy lights at Home Depot. That's probably another objection you may get. And again, it has 74 comments. Again, some of them are really, really good. I like some of them. Some of them I probably wouldn't use. But I wanted to just show you this. If you're not in the Christmas light install group, the biggest Christmas light group out there, you should be. It is an amazing group. Um, Christmas lights install training and community. If you go to christmaslights.io/group. And thus, I know there's a bunch of people that are trying to get in, and I haven't done it since I've been gone. So I will be letting a bunch of people in tonight and tomorrow morning. So if you request, I will let you in eventually. You will get in eventually. But again, that is a great question. And how do you, and that ain't just the only question. How do we overcome other objections? I signed up to get a website and just know about how long to expect and if needed any additional information. Um, she's usually pretty good about getting that done pretty quick. I know we've been working on another website or two, so you might be like two down, but you should be able to get it up there pretty good. Um, those are awesome. What got off the phone with you and had three quote requests? What the heck? Um, awesome. What is the best way to attach roof lights to a tin roof? You can use magnet clips if it's metal. Sometimes they're not always metal. Magnet clips, you can try to use your clips like your regular clips here. So this is the best clip, or this ain't the best clip. This is you can use a clip. And then sometimes what you can do is bend these over. Actually, this is the best clip, I think. You can bend this over, and then that makes it a little bit tighter on it. So that's another way you can do it. You can do binder clips. There's a couple ways that you can do that to get it up there. How do you handle? I already talked on that one. Do you do any one-on-one Zoom calls? And yes, I can do one-on-one Zoom calls. I have to get my link up so that I is up and working. I will try to do that tomorrow because you're not the only one asking about that. Will your online course teach me everything I need to know? I'm unable to make the October classes. And the answer is yes. In the online christmaslights.io/SP, it has everything that you need. And you can join the Monday night marketing calls. Every Monday night Zoom call, we do a 1 hour Zoom call. You can come on, ask your questions. Other people are asking questions, and you'll learn from there. I will be installing 500 feet of lights for a house. Can I connect all that using only one outlet and wire? And the answer is yes. You will be able to do that all off of one. Um, you should be able, no problem. The only time you start having more problems, you won't have it off the C9s. When you start having problems is when you start doing mini lights. because you have to think about it. You can tie 40 strands of mini lights together. And at that point, you're at like 2 amps, like 1.7 amps, 1.7 to 2 amps. And so that's when you start getting lots of mini lights, is when you start having issues with pulling too much power. So it's not so much the C9s that you'll have issues with, you'll have it with the mini lights. Mini lights pull a lot more power than the C9s do. Again, you can put about like 30 to 40 strands together depending on what brand of mini lights you have. And so once you get to 40, the only reason why you can only put 40 in is because you got that 2 amp fuse in the end of it, and it'll start popping that fuse. So that's why we can't put more than that on there. And that's where you will start having issues with power, is when you start putting too many minis on a thing. So if you get, a couple hundred minis, you're going to have to figure out your power sources and stuff. So that's where your issues will come along with it. But again, that's where you got to look at. But other than that, again, if you haven't, christmaslights.io/IPT for in-person training. I have 2 classes coming up in October. They are hands-on. Again, you get to use the goat, you get to use the pit chopper, you will know how to wrap trees, you'll know how to wrap columns, you know how to wrap how to do gutters. We'll teach how to do the smart lights. We'll teach you everything you need. You'll learn how to do marketing. You'll learn how to do sales. You'll learn how to grow your business. I've got people that came to these classes in October and made $100,000 their first year. There's no guarantee of that because you got to do the work. But if you go home, take action, and you can do anywhere from 30 to 100 grand your year, your very first year putting up Christmas lights. Christmas lights will change your life. I promise you. I know people doing $1 million a year doing Christmas lights. And so that's the awesome thing about Christmas lights. They're amazing. I love them. I love teaching them. I love helping you all. And that is what I love to do. So, but again, this is something that I want you to be able to grow your business and take action. Okay, I will sign up for the bigger subscription. Thanks for the value you provide. You're the best ROI, right? And the one of the things like Kerry, he came and he's already closed. Shoot, you're probably, let's say, I know you're at 3 or 4 jobs now, and one of them was $2,800. So you're already at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and we're only in September. We're not even in October yet. So there's no reason that you won't do 30,000. And honestly, if you keep this up, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do 50 or $100,000. And so with that, you know, there's things I teach. I teach LinkedIn. I've had 2 customers this week. One customer closed $20,000 on a LinkedIn post or doing LinkedIn. Another person closed a $15,000 on LinkedIn. Now it takes work. It takes action. You have to do the work. Yard signs, right? If you want to grow your business, you got to put them out there. You got to take action. And when you take action, it's amazing what can happen. And so with that, this is going to be an amazing year. I just know it's going to be an amazing year. It is awesome. And so christmaslights.io, if you need any lights, you want 18% off, go to christmaslight.io. If you just put Christmas light, don't put the S on it. .io. It will take you to my links. I'm right now. I am teamed up with Dustin over at Lights and Wholesale, and if you want to help me out and get a good deal, 18% off, go to christmaslights.io. Again, it is amazing. You take action, you will grow your business. I promise you. I've seen it over and over and over. I've coached it over and over and over. It's amazing to watch people hit $10,000 weeks, $10,000 days, $100,000 months, $200,000 months, $500,000 months. Because if you hit $1 million in a year, that means you're doing $500,000 in 1 month. And I'm not talking about anybody that's special either. I'm not talking about somebody that's been in business for 20 years and doing $1 million. I'm talking about people that have been in business 2, 3, 4, 5 years and hitting $1 million in a Christmas light business. That's what I'm talking about. And you can do the same thing, but you got to take action. If you're just sitting there being like, I can't do it, and change, and you use the words and the mindset that you can't believe you can do it, you'll be the first one that's right that you can't do it. Because as Henry Ford says, you either can or you either think you can or you think you can't. But in the end, you're right. You're both right. Because if you believe that you can do it, you're going to do it. And that's why I always push, I didn't talk about my book of the week. And so, talking about the book of the week, let's talk about that book. It's one of my favorite books. If I can find my favorite book. But again, Think and Grow Rich, right? Read this book. Read it. Read it and read it and read it and read it some more. Because this book will set you up for life. So read it. Just like the Bible. Read that one too, but read that one. Read them both. Again, hopefully, not hope, you will have an amazing week this week. Again, christmaslights.io. If you want to get Christmas lights, 18% off. It's going to be the cheapest you're going to get them all year. Go sign up, go get them. Other than that, I hope you all have an amazing night, and we'll see you all later. Go be great.